You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Bay Area, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR. And today, the Giants couldn't close out the series with a win, falling 5-3 to the Diamondbacks and ultimately splitting the 4-game series at 2 games apiece. Jordan Hicks had his shakiest outing he's had so far this season, but still pitched pretty effectively. We'll break that down. And the Giants offense had to deal with some bad luck and bad calls at the dish, as we saw tons of questionable calls, so much so that Bob Melvin was thrown out of the game for arguing. And this really changed the outcome of the game. You never want to discuss the umpire at the top of a post-game show, but today we just got to do it. We'll break it all down, but first I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports Bay Area YouTube channel. If you aren't already subscribed, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. Also, if you're listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed, appreciate you tuning in. However you're getting the show, we appreciate it. Make sure you check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaspick does a great job. And today's show is sponsored by eBay Motors. From brakes to exhaust kits and beyond, eBay Motors has over 122 million parts to keep your ride or die alive. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to bring home that big win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit. Only available to U.S. customers. Jordan Hicks looked okay today. I keep wanting to refer to these day games as night games, and Hicks looked pretty good out there. He was shaky, but his stuff was on. We got to get into that a little bit more, but early in this one, you could tell he just didn't have it. He walked 4 guys, hit 2 batters in the top of the second inning. He hits 2 guys back to back, and then he walks Moreno, loads the bases without giving up a hit. A Jake McCarthy sac fly scores Jock Peterson, and the Diamondbacks take a 1-0 lead without even picking up a hit. You hate to see that. Hicks is way too good to be letting this happen. We haven't seen him walk very many batters in a game this year, and for him to be this wild was a little troubling, but it was more encouraging to see him work through all of it. Later on, the Giants got back into this one in the top of the 5th. Thairo Estrada had a 2-out single, and then Mike Yastrzemski, who's been swinging the bat really well lately, hits a 2-run bomb. Remember, he came close to hitting one out yesterday, clanked one off the bricks, and then kind of like fell out of the batter's box as he was trying to get down the line to first base, and he rolled his ankle a little bit. It's good to see Yaz barreling balls up again. His at-bats look so much better. He's not just free swinging at balls in the dirt, at balls 2 feet outside of the strike zone. He looks way more locked in. He's seeing the ball a lot better. He looks just like a different player, honestly, at the dish right now than he did even just a couple weeks ago, even just last week. So Mike Yastrzemski is showing some good signs. That 2-run bomb was his first of the season. It barely got over that right field wall, but hey, it's a tough wall to clear. It's pretty tall out there and right. His first home run as the season, as I said, it was a belt high changeup out over the outer third of the plate, and it put the Giants up 2-1, another 2-out rally that gets the Giants on the board. Hicks pulled after 5 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned run. Again, the 4 walks and the 2 hit by pitches gives up the 1 earned run, but he really shouldn't have given up any today. If he would have been able to fill up the strike zone a little bit more, this would have been a completely different outing for Hicks. I mean, he would have had a shutout. He would have been able to pitch much deeper into this game, and that would have been a big difference because the bullpen did not do their job today. Eric Miller came in and didn't look nearly as sharp as he has in recent games. Gives up a leadoff double to Jock Peterson, who's wearing, I think he's confused, man. He's wearing like a bunch of Padres colors with, his cleats, his shin guard, his gloves. He's got all these little accessories that are all like Padres yellow or like Green Bay Packers yellow almost. Ew, gross. And I don't really know how that fits with the red and like teal color scheme that the Diamondbacks got going on over there, and purple's mixed in there somehow too. They got all sorts of weird colors out there in Arizona. Gray. It's a very weird color scheme, but I'll tell you, yellow does not go with that color scheme. Anyways, Jock's up there wearing all sorts of weird mismatching colors, looking like a 12-year-old on his little league team. Hits a leadoff double, a Suarez infield hit, and then runners tag up on a flyout, both advance. All of a sudden, you got second and third runners at the corners for Eric Miller. and a Moreno base hit up the middle. Not runners at the corners, runners at second and third with after that fly out, and the Moreno base hit up the middle scores both of those runners. A 7-pitch at bat and multiple foul balls. Very good battle from Moreno in that at bat before hitting that single back up the middle. And it gave the Diamondbacks the lead back with that one swing of the bat. A 3-2 lead for the Diamondbacks. And Miller is able to get out of the inning with a strike him out, throw him out, double play. So he does reach back and get that strikeout. You know, he's got that electric stuff on the mound, but he's got to figure out how to avoid getting into those jams where you put the first two hitters of the inning on. I mean, the Suarez infield hit was actually ruled an error, which is incorrect and will be fixed. You can't be penalizing Nick Ahmed for that play. He had to run like 5-6 steps into the hole to his right, and he bobbled the ball when he fielded it. But even if he fielded that ball cleanly, I have no idea how that guy's going to get to that ball, set his feet, and throw across the diamond and still get a runner. So I think they'll go back and change that from an error to a base hit to an infield hit from Suarez. But either way, those first two batters getting on, it's not how you want to start an inning coming out of the bullpen. First guy out of the pen puts the first two batters on that he faces, and ultimately they hurt him, and it's not great. But Eric Miller has been pitching a lot better lately. This is out of the norm from what we've seen in recent outings from him. He's been absolutely locked in, touching triple digits every outing, strikeout stuff working. And you did see him eventually get a strikeout to end this inning, and the Pat Bailey throw out down to second base as well. Then in the bottom of the sixth, you thought the Giants were going to tie it up when Jung-Hoo Lee almost put one in the water. He actually did put it in the water, but just barely to the outside of the foul pole. Couldn't wrap it around the inside of it to keep it in play for a home run. Would have been I think we would have heard that stadium absolutely erupt if this became tied in the bottom of the sixth with a Jung-Hoo Lee splash hit. The way this guy's been playing, he is locked in at the dish. He has every at bat he grinds. Every at bat he looks like he's gonna get on base somehow. Like he's either gonna slap an infield single or go the other way and put one in the outfield, or he's going to just put one over the fence over the right field wall, as we've seen him do a couple times this series. One time in fair play and one time in foul play, or out of bounds, but it was so close today. I thought that one was going in the water off the bat. I yelled so loud in my apartment and was so disappointed when that thing hooked foul. But Jung-Hoo Lee fills you with confidence. If there's one thing to continuously point to on this team, the northern star that's guiding the Giants team is Jung-Hoo Lee right now. I mean, he's helps them in every phase of the game. He makes this team so much better, and he gives you such an effective at bat in the lineup. He's never an easy out. He makes other pitchers uncomfortable, and that's something that not a lot of batters in this lineup do. So no damage done in that sixth inning for the Giants. In the seventh, Sean Jelly came in, and I wanted to talk a little Sean Jelly now because I saw some good stuff from him today. I mean, the 26-year-old, 6'11", giant tree. We can't call him Tree because that's Bill Lasky's nickname. Shout out Bill Lasky. But Sean Jelly looks more like a tree than Big Bill does. I'll tell you what, 6'11", 26 years old, and he had a very quick seventh inning. Impressive work from him. All three outs in that seventh inning were ground ball outs, and he ended up coming out for the eighth inning as well. And he got even more ground ball outs. He ended up with 5 ground ball outs facing 7 batters. That's incredible. 5 of the 6 outs he gets are on ground balls. His ground ball rate is very high. He's got a ton of sink, and he's added a couple miles per hour onto that sinker. He's now bumped it up to 96, a little bit faster than it was last year. And the downward movement he's got on his pitches could lead him to be a very effective pitcher in this game. I mean, the Giants have tried to use him as a starter. We saw that last season. He's done some work out of the bullpen, but we haven't seen him too much this season, and we don't really talk about him nearly as much as all these other pitching prospects, the Kyle Harrisons, the Carson Wisenhunts, the Mason Blacks. Even we're not talking about him the same way as we're talking about these other guys. But Sean Jelly was once a highly touted prospect in his own right, and maybe now that he's not in the spotlight as much as he was earlier, maybe now that there's not those mounting expectations that have piled on him, maybe he's going to be a little bit better. Maybe he'll pitch a little more freely. Some guys, they just work that way. Some guys, they just need a little time out of the spotlight and they can find themselves a little bit better. So maybe we're seeing an emergence from Sean Jelly I mean, that would be a weapon to have. I mean, could you imagine that? Like if you're a batter and you're facing, Logan Webb, who's not a short guy, but you're facing Logan Webb, and then in comes Sean Jelly, the angle of release, and then you bring in like a Tyler Rogers after that to just throw frisbees up there. Like what is happening? Like if you can change the angle of release so many times in such dramatic ways, if this guy can figure it out on the hill, that can be a very effective weapon out of the pen for the Giants. And it was nice to see him kind of get rolling in this one. The fact that he came back out for another inning and did his job in that inning too was good to see. Unfortunately, it became a problem when Nick Avila came back in for the Giants in the 9th inning. But really quick, before we get to that, the Giants did have a chance in the bottom of the 7th. Conforto got on with a leadoff single. Nice piece of hitting, went the other way on a 97-mile-an-hour four-seamer with 2 strikes. Chapman gave one a ride to Triple's alley, but there's a lot of room out there. It was just ended up being a fly out. Bailey walked. Tying run goes into scoring position with less than 2 outs. Yaz was actually intentionally walked later in the inning after Tyro ground out. And then Jorge Soler comes up in a pinch hit opportunity with 2 outs and the bases loaded and everyone's on their feet at Oracle. And he hits a big chopper to third base and the Giants leave the bases loaded with the tying and go ahead runs in scoring position. Ouch. That hurts. This has been the bugaboo for the Giants that they just can't get that one big hit when they need it. They were one swing of the bat away in this one. In the 9th inning, Avila came in for the Giants, gave up a leadoff single to Moreno. Chapman then fields a bunt, spins and throws to second. It's a tough play, but he would have got the runner if Tyler Fitzgerald would have been able to squeeze that glove on it. But the ball bounces off his glove and squirts into center field. Moreno goes to third. All of a sudden, we got runners at the corners and nobody out. Looks like Avila has a strikeout in the next at bat. But Stu Sherwater calls it a foul tip. Pat Bailey immediately jumps up and argues the call as much as he can without getting tossed. Next pitch, maybe it was 2 pitches later, there's a double roped into the outfield, and the Newman double scores Moreno. 4-2 Diamondbacks lead at that point, completely changes the game. Melvin and Williams both came out and to let Stu Sherwater know what they thought about that not strike three call, or should have been strike 3, not strike 3 call. And they both got ejected. It was kind of funny. He gave them both back-to-back tosses, and they're both ejected. Ryan Christensen takes over the manager duties, and then Marte sac fly scores another run. The Giants finally get out of the inning. 5-2 lead for the Diamondbacks, though. Could have been worse. Lee actually saved a run in center field by making another nice sliding catch out there in center. That glove is so sure out in center field. He's such a plus player for the Giants, offensively and defensively. Then more Stu Sherwater discussions, as in the bottom of the 9th, Michael Conforto should have had a leadoff walk, but what should have been ball 4 was called strike 2. All of a sudden, Conforto has to protect with a full count, and he swings at a pitch up out of the zone, protecting with 2 strikes, sends a lazy fly ball to left. You see him look back at home plate and yell a word I can't say on the podcast that starts with F and is a 4-letter word and spikes the bat in front of the plate in frustration. I was kind of shocked that he didn't get more of a talking to from the umpire. You see him jogging back across the diamond after the ball is caught, and he, as soon as he's passing between the pitcher and the umpire, yells again, another expletive that I can't say on this show, but frustration was palpable. Chapman then doubles in the gap, which, if you're keeping score at home, this should have at least scored Conforto. If he was on base, he absolutely would have been able to score from first on that play. And the Giants also shouldn't have given up very many runs, if any at all, in the prior inning, depending on how the inning played out after that strikeout from Nick Avila. So this one could have gone drastically different for the Giants. And then Tyro Estrada comes up and doubles to score Chapman. If Conforto didn't score on the prior play, he would have scored on that hit. It was then 5-3. D-backs could have been 5-4. This one could have gone so different. And these couple key questionable calls really were the difference in this one. Yaz ends up striking out to end the game, or not striking out, but Yaz ends up, he did strike out. Yaz strikes out to end the game, and he and Bailey both let Sherwater hear it on the way back to the dugout. Yaz was chirping him. You saw Pat Bailey jump up to the top step in the dugout and let Sherwater know what he thought about his officiating that game as well. Tough way to lose a game if you're the Giants. I mean, one or two things go the opposite way and the Giants win this one, but every single, the Jung-Hoo Lee foul ball, the calls at the plate, all of these different things, just plain old bad luck and bad officiating, honestly, really cost the Giants in this one today. So they fall 5-3 to the Diamondbacks. We got to break down more from this game, a ton to break down in this one. Jordan Hicks, his day on the mound, the bottom of the order, bats really coming alive. And of course, this questionable officiating, umpiring job by Stu Sherwater. Stick with us on the Locked On Giants postcast. We'll be back with more on the other side. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whatever you're into, speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. We've all been there, either as a player or a fan. It's halftime and the scoreboard is not looking good. You're feeling low and not sure how you or your team can pull out a win. That's when you got to dig deep, lift your head up, and say to yourself, time to get back in the game, pull off some bank heists, and take as much of my friends' money as I possibly can. That's right. The smash hit mobile game Monopoly Go lets you compete with your friends to get the most riches and the biggest empire. It's the Monopoly you love, but on your phone, anytime, with tons of new twists, including leaderboards to compare your progress to your buddies. There's so much to do, including playing on countless dynamic Monopoly boards, make your friends bankrupt by smashing their landmarks with a wrecking ball, charge other players rent at your iconic properties. You can even work with your friends to crack open community chests and in tournaments to get extra rewards and climb up that leaderboard. So get back out there, put on your game face, and download Monopoly Go now for free on the App Store or Google Play. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. The Giants fall 5-3 to the Diamondbacks in this one. A very tough loss for the Giants because this could have gone the other way so easily. I mean, the Conforto missed call. I mean, that walk would have put the Giants down just one, and you would have had another extra at bat in the inning. This would have been completely different. This game would have changed. It would have been completely different if Avila got that strikeout. We don't know if how many runs the Diamondbacks would have scored in that inning. One, maybe none at all, instead of the two that they scored. So it ended up being tough. It ended up being really just tough breaks out there for the Giants. As the great Brian Murphy says, sometimes in life you're gonna get boned. This was one of those times. And the Giants, you hate to lose a game this way. You hate to point to something that happened due to an official, an umpire in any sport, and say that this changed the outcome of a game, because you never want to say that it, they lost because of the official, and the Giants didn't lose because there was a missed call or two or three or four at the plate, but they lost this game. They could have won this game in a lot of different ways. But the fact that this game was so close in so many different ways, and that the officiating had an impact one way or another, is not something that you want to deal with. You don't want to have that be how you wrap up a series. I mean, how much different do you feel if the Giants close this out 3-1 against the Diamondbacks as opposed to splitting 2-2? For me, I think it's frustrating that they're splitting this 2-2 when you had such a good opportunity. But the Giants this was a weird day from the jump, you got Saccone starting on the hill for the Diamondbacks, which is not who was supposed to start. We signed off yesterday saying Merrill Kelly on the hill, and that's not what happened. He was a late scratch, and it's really tough when you prepare for one guy and end up facing another. You saw the Giants do this last year a lot. Like, they kind of tried to use that to their advantage in delaying announcing who their starter was going to be. Like, every year it'd be the day before, and the Giants starting pitcher for tomorrow would be TBD. You'd have no idea who that guy was going to be. And I feel like 90% of the time it was Scott Alexander on a bullpen day. But anyways, it was, it's hard for guys to sit there and, you got the iPad and all the technology, but you're spending all your time preparing for Merrill Kelly. And then you got Saccone, who comes in, and the Giants as a team had only faced him a collective total of 7 at-bats. So this really worked in favor of the Diamondbacks today. You watch Saccone on the mound. He did okay out there today. I mean, 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, 2 runs, 3 strikeouts, the 1 home run to Yastrzemski. He had a nice day out there. He was serviceable. But the first time through the order, he just cruised. The Giants did not really have many competitive at-bats against him that first time through the order. He retired 9 consecutive batters. And then he come second time through the order, first batter, Jung-Hoo Lee, he hits him on the back foot with the slider. So he started to go a little downhill from that point forward as soon as the Giants had seen him one time through. And they knew how to react to this guy. They knew what he was trying to do out there on the hill. It's tough when you're in that sort of position, and it was just too many bad juju things going against the Giants today. Not enough good vibes, good particles out at the yard. I guess we used them all up yesterday on April 20th, but the Giants today just couldn't get it done. They couldn't get the one hit when they needed it. Soler had a golden opportunity with the bases loaded, and couldn't get it done. Even if Hicks was a little bit more controlled, then you don't have to have Nick Avila pitch at all. You don't have to have, you can use 1 or 2 or 3 relievers instead of having to use 3. And that would have been a lot better if Hicks could have lasted a few more innings, could have filled up the strike zone a little more. On the other side, we got to take a quick break. This game could have gone so different if these couple bad luck things would have gone the other way. I mean, the Jung-Hoo Lee almost home run, almost splash hit. All of these things could have changed the Giants' day dramatically. Any one of these things could have changed the Giants' day dramatically. We got to talk more about how Jordan Hicks could have changed that for the Giants. I don't want to pile on him too much. I mean, it's hard to say a guy had a bad outing. He only gave up 1 run, but he was shaky today. And we got to talk about it on the other side, what Jordan Hicks could have done better to help the Giants. Stick with us on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We will be right back. It's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. Baseball is in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every single game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's right, $150, win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel. Today, the Giants fall 5-3 to the Diamondbacks in the final game of this 4-game set. End up splitting it 2 games apiece with the Snakes, the Desert Snakes. But Jordan Hicks, he had a nice day on the hill, but he was a little wild today. Hicks today, his final slash line wasn't too bad. 5 innings pitched, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 earned run, no strikeouts. Very strange, because we've seen him get lots and lots and lots and lots of strikeouts so far, and 4 walks. That is the most walks he's had in a game. You include the 2 hit batsmen, that's 6 free bases, and then you include a balk as well, which was all this is so out of the norm for Jordan Hicks. 7 different times he's given up free 90s in this game, and free 90s are gonna hurt you. They did in this one. They gave the Diamondbacks a free run without any hits. You can't be giving guys runs without making them hit the baseball. You got to make them put the ball in play. You got to make them have at-bats, competitive at-bats. You can't be given free bases, and that's what Hicks could have done differently for the Giants in this one. He ended up throwing 96 pitches. Only 60 of them were strikes. Only 60. That like 2/3 of his pitches being strikes is not what we've expected from him so far. Not what we've come to expect from him, at least. He's been filling up the zone, and he didn't do his usual ground ball work on the hill either. I mean, he did get 7 ground outs, but this isn't as many as we've come to see from him. He wasn't pitching to contact as much as he has early in the season. In the walks is really what concerns you. His lack of control wasn't the best situation for the Giants. It was encouraging, though, to see that even though he had that lack of control, his stuff on the hill is still so effective that guys are just swinging and missing. I mean, his splitter has become a really nice put out pitch. That sweeper is so good, in the sinker, two-seamer, whatever you want to call it. The arm side run he gets on it where he backdoors guys is incredible. I don't know how, as a right-hander, you actually have confidence going into the batter's box against this guy. It is such an uncomfortable at bat. The splitter and the two-seamer look the same coming out of his hand, and one of them goes 20 inches in towards you, and the other one just dives down away from you. I don't know how you're just guessing. You're 100% guessing on the hill up there in the batter's box when Jordan Hicks is on the hill out there. And it's a very uncomfortable at bat. And I got to imagine it's got to be even more uncomfy when that guy's a little wild on the mound, because he's throwing 97, 98, if he wants it, 100. And he doesn't have the best control that day. I don't want to get hit by that. I'm sure lots of guys are sitting in that batter's box kind of thinking the same thing, which you saw guys off balance at the plate. His ground ball rate is still very high. He's still in like the top 10% of pitchers in the Major League Baseball on ground ball percentage. It's at 58% right now. He's been a revelation. We've said it every single start that he's had. He's been an absolute revelation as a pitcher, as a starting pitcher for the Giants, bringing him out of the bullpen, signing him away from the Cardinals. This guy as your number 4 starter, if this is a quote bad outing from him, if this is what he looks like when he is not on his A game and lacks control, 1 run over 6 innings, when he's on a day when he has no strikeouts and 4 walks and 2 hit batsmen, 1 run over 6 innings, I'll take it, man. Jordan Hicks is great. That's my point for this all these reasons that I'm talking about Jordan Hicks having a bad day. Ultimately, 1 run, 6 innings. This is a very good sign for a guy who's supposed to be your number 4 starter. If this is what you can expect from him, and again, he's setting this as the expectation now, because even in a bad outing on a day when he didn't have it, he was still able to gut this type of performance out, to pitch around runners on base and get outs when he needed it, to get out of tough jams and know how to, not just how to be up there and throw good pitches, but how to pitch around these things, to use his brain to get out of situations, to get these ground ball outs in situations where you need it. He pitched so effectively today in high stress moments all throughout this game. Jordan Hicks is going to be a staple in this Giants pitching staff going forward. The way I see it, honestly, you got 5 guys right now, all starting for the Giants, who are all locked in. We got Keaton Winn going next. Are you worried about Keaton Winn on the hill? Because I am certainly not. Keaton Winn has been great. Every single Giants pitcher, like Kyle Harrison, has given up some home runs, but ultimately he's not really letting a lot of runs score. He's getting a lot of strikeouts, going deeper in games than we saw him go last season. Logan Webb is doing Logan Webb things and showing why he's an ace, holding guys to not allowing teams to score any runs before he comes out of games. Hicks pitching great. The only guy that you're not super confident right now with is Blake Snell. But he's Blake Snell. He won the Cy Young last year. You know he's going to turn it around. At least I do. If you're still questioning whether or not he's going to turn it around, go look at his April stats from virtually every season of his career. And this has been a rough start for him. Yes, this has been one of the, even in comparison to his other Aprils, one of the worst starts to his career. but he always starts April bad. He's going to get better. I'm not worried about it. And even if you are, look at all the arms that they have waiting in the wings to come in. There's no reason to stress about this Giants pitching staff. Jordan Hicks showed you today, even in an outing where he's not got his best stuff, you don't need to worry about it. You're stress-free with these Giants starting pitchers. Wow, what a difference that is from this time last year. Wow. The juxtaposition of the Bob Melvin starting staff, the starting five for Bob Melvin versus the Gabe Kapler starting two, plus all the different bullpens games that we got, the Scott Alexander starts that were very uninspiring of, a half a time through the order and then pulled for another reliever who goes a half a time through the order. And then we do that for the rest of the game. Not my favorite brand of baseball. I love this Giants pitching staff, this starting five for the Giants. I am so enamored with it. And Jordan Hicks is just another reason why, another piece of the puzzle. And it's starting to come together for the Giants, I think. And this is something good that you can glean from the loss. If 5-3 Diamondbacks do win, but there's a lot of good things from this one. Again, we didn't get into the bottom of the order stuff as much, but Mike Yastrzemski, Tyro Estrada continue to really hit well to give the Giants a ton of offense out of the bottom of the order where production was really lacking. Pat Bailey doing great things over this series. He had a come back to earth game after his monster 420. I mean, Pat Bailey bobblehead day. I knew I was getting vibes from that headband, man. You don't just wear a headband and not be like a certain type of vibe. You know what I mean? Of a 420th community. Anyways, Pat Bailey came back to earth today after his monster day yesterday, after nearly hitting for the cycle, but a lot of good things from the bottom of this order. Mike Yastrzemski looks a lot better at the plate, not like just an automatic out. Things are coming together. The Giants just, again, this one could have gone so differently. Just one swing of the bat, this game could have been so different. One borderline call going the other way or actually being called correctly could have changed this game dramatically. Stu Sherwater going to be the most unpopular man in the San Francisco and Embarcadero area today. I mean, don't anybody buy that guy a drink today, man. That was pathetic. That was a bad showing. Anyways, Giants fall 5-3, get back at it. Giants will be back in action this week tomorrow. We'll come to you live after that, the conclusion of that game as well. We're always coming to you live after all Giants games here on Locked On Giants Postcast. So stick with us tomorrow. Stick with us for the rest of the season. That's all the time we got for you today. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and I got to get out of here. My back hurts, man. My back, I don't know what I did. I slept on it weird last night. I am in pain. I need to go lay down, take a gummy or something. I don't know, man. Anyways, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Peace.